Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025, and today's topic is going to be, I'm going to call it Stylization from Imagination. But before we begin, welcome back if you're returning, welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day and I use a timer to stay focused and to build a habit. So I started a 10-minute timer and I'm going to continue working on this sketch, basically turn it into more of a finished drawing, and I'll post a link to yesterday's video. And basically it was just sketching from imagination, like without construction lines and stuff like that or reference. And so for today I'm going to keep working on it and make it look more, basically refine it, but from imagination. It does take practice, and the more you practice it, like the easier it becomes. I use this pen, this Papermate felt tip pen, and I'm going to stick with this. For the next one, for the next step, you could use like a different pen, but you kind of have to think about like the look of it. So for example, if I go in, you'll notice that there is some line variation with this pen. That's kind of why I like it, but it's not that much line variation, but like a little bit. Yeah, there's just like different techniques. For this one, I'm just going to use the same pen. So with that in mind, I did notice, for example, that I want to make her hair sort of follow the turn of the head a little bit more, because when I started, that's basically kind of the area where I started the drawing. So that was one thing. If this is the sketch, I like to have a methodology. Kind of helps me. So then this next one is kind of like shading. I kind of want to color this. I might color this on the computer or something like that. And so if that's the case, I'm not going to crosshatch everything, because the more you do that, obviously the color is going to show through, not as much if you ink everything or crosshatch everything. Every stage, or like every step, you want it to be an improvement or a refinement of what you had previously. So whatever I did previously, I'm not wanting to mess that part up or like go backwards. So I'm going to go in, and whatever line that I add, I'm going to be very patient and deliberate with it. But one thing I wanted to work on just from yesterday, and I had to make it a point not to work on it, is I wanted to adjust this part. So this is what I mean by like being more deliberate. So for example, I need to adjust this a little bit to make it match that, because I was sort of mixed, and that's what happens when you're just drawing without the construction, is sometimes your proportions will be off. So I was sort of mixed with doing this kind of a front view, but then this was like turning. I need to add a little bit more on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and add something here, see? And then like with that in mind, I can kind of catch up the rest of the picture. So part of this has to do with just knowing the anatomy. So like knowing how to draw an eye and stuff. So like this ear is too close, but like some of the hair could be covering it. Part of it is just kind of squinting and seeing like the overall shape. So for example, but yeah, like the deliberateness of the line work matters. This line should be the line, should be like that's the actual line. I wanted to make a point to actually draw most of it, because I don't always want to leave everything vague. Sometimes I want to actually draw the shapes. So part of this is coming from leaving it alone and then coming back and seeing what I can do to it. So you'll notice that the shading is happening just from like the line. I'm not even really worried about the line weight. And so this stage, so about are the sketch, which is from yesterday. This one is like the light and dark. Sometimes I just call it shading. So part of it is just the... So see, now we can have some of the line weight. So some of it is just the aesthetic of it, like the look of it, the style. And not so much how realistic it is. So part of it's also adjusting the initial sketch. But yeah, I wanted to do this without reference because it does take practice. So for example, if some areas start to get a little overworked, see like right here, or yeah, like I guess you can call it that, like a little bit overworked, then you just have to think about, just go ahead and make it kind of the darkest area. So it depends on the approach. Since I want it to be kind of open, I'm going to be more sparing and deliberate with the line work. So I might just kind of leave it until I see something. I might have, like, since her hair is like this, but like I want to think about the drawing. That's the main thing. I might work on like the dark area. There's different approaches. You can adjust things by doing the line weight like that. But I wanted to do this from imagination because, one, like I was saying, it does take some practice. The more you do it, like the better you'll get at it. And sometimes it's more satisfying, but then sometimes it's satisfying to look at reference. So then you got areas like the nose, for example, where you can be kind of subtle with it. And sometimes you can get away with just the line weight. It just depends on the style. Sometimes you can make adjustments to the... So like for the eyes, for example, zoom into the eyes. I mean, it's like a little off, but that's part of the, to me, like part of the charm if you also do your best. I mean, you can make adjustments that way, and it changes the expression. So part of what I want to do is just adjust the iris. And then as I wrap this up, yeah, like basically just be patient with it. Because like yesterday, after the video, I pretty much knew I wanted to do some stuff like this. But one, I wanted to make a video about it, and then the other is it's good to kind of wait sometimes. Alright, so yeah, I stepped away for a few minutes and I want to adjust this part, because I actually am going to adjust it. Part of it is the look, because I did that kind of thing. I adjusted those areas, so part of it is just bringing this in a little bit. So yeah, I wanted to adjust that. Again, just being methodical about it. Sometimes stepping away for like a minute like I did, and then you can kind of see. And then the other thing is like the nose is kind of long. Part of that is because I knew that I usually will add refinements to it, so I kind of knew I just didn't want to be like completely off on the proportion. But part of it is this, like you can kind of adjust things. So show a little bit of the underneath. But again, just being kind of methodical about it. And then you can make adjustments to the part of it is like shading and line work, but also adjusting the picture. Kind of like that. But yeah, you have to be patient with it. So yeah, sometimes I'll do stuff where as long as it's generally correct, I know I'm going to work on it some more, so that's usually how or this could be done in like one sitting. I usually give it time because sometimes I can't tell as I'm working on it. If I really need to know the proportion, then I would have done the construction. Or if I really know, it just depends on the style. Like if I know what the character looks like, because I was sort of inventing. I mean, it ended up turning into basically my OC, my muse. But I didn't know that at first. Like, it didn't have to be. And I'll do other videos where it isn't. I mean, like, the other day I did the landscape, for example. Now, I tend to do more naturalistic subjects because it's for world building, since that's what I'm working on. So yeah, with that said, I want to thank you for joining me for our daily sketching routine. And if you like these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it. Until next time, keep on sketching.